Hello everyone! Today we're going to be jumping back into Historic Brawl with the Witch King of Angmar. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what he does and why he makes such a good commander for us. He's a 5-mana, 5/3 flyer, which is an okay body, but let's talk about the effect, which is what we care about here. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to us, each opponent is going to sacrifice one of the creatures that dealt damage to us that way, and the ring is going to tempt us. So that's going to make it very difficult for our opponent to swing in at us, especially when we have the Witch King as a blocker. We can really disrupt our opponent's attack pattern with him, and because of that, we're going to be looking to control the board with this deck. He also has an effect that's going to let us discard a card to give him indestructible until the end of turn and tap him. This added layer of resiliency is going to make it really easy for us to keep him on the battlefield and further make it harder for our opponent to attack into us. So while our opponent's having difficulty attacking into us, what are we going to be doing? We're playing this like a mono-black devotion style deck, running all the cards with all of the pips, as well as Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. And we're going to be making our way up to some of our heavier threats, trying to close out the game with something like Grey Merchant. As a flyer, being an evasive creature, we can also swing in with the Witch King. We have Underworld Dreams as well, and all of the Shieldreds, really disrupting our opponent's board, causing them to sacrifice creatures, getting creatures back from our graveyard, things like that. We also have Phyrexian Obliterator, further dissuading our opponent from attacks, and putting us ahead on the board. Now, we do have other spells that are going to make our opponent's life a little bit miserable. We have things like Painful Quandary. This is absolutely insane if we can resolve this. Our opponents are going to either lose 5 life or discard a card each time they try and cast a spell, so that's going to make disrupting us near impossible. Furthermore, we also have Torment of Scarabs. This is going to disrupt our opponent during their upkeep, making it hard for them to keep things on the board. Now, while we do have this heavy devotion plan, we also decided to have a little bit of fun. We're running the One Ring, because 1, it's thematic, and 2, it's going to be able to give us protection and gives us extra card draw, which this deck loves to see. We also have 9 Nazgul and a plethora of other Lord of the Ring cards, letting us interact with our opponent, as well as being thematically on point for the deck. Now, if you guys have been enjoying my content so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on my latest videos. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button down below. Now, let's see how this deck does. Alright, and here we are queuing into the first game against Tom Bombadil. Now, this is an alright starting hand, but with only 2 mana, I'm not sure we're going to want to keep that. This is going to look a little bit better. We're going to go ahead and keep. Now, we are a bit flooded with this particular hand, but I do like Nazgul as a threat to Tom. If he doesn't have Indestructible, Death Touch is going to be great for us. And Celestis is going to be a good way to cycle through some of those unwanted cards. Drawing Erebos as our first card is also good. We have something to work towards in our later turns. And Blood on the Snow will eventually wipe our opponent's board if they play out too many enchanted creatures. Now, playing into a Tom Bombadil deck, they're going to be looking to get out a bunch of sagas and get a bunch of value off of that. We don't really have a way of interacting with their sagas directly, but we are going to try and disrupt their game plan in other ways. Blood on the Snow to kill Tom for 1, stopping them from getting additional saga ETBs. We're going to play out Elspeth's Nightmare next turn, I think. Now, if our opponent doesn't play the creature, that's okay, but we want to make our way up to that Thoughtseize effect, really disrupt our opponent. They're just ramping here. I do think the early Thoughtseize is going to be good, though. We are missing out on potential value with Celestis, but we're actually going to save this for a turn where we can play Celestis and something else. So let's play the Nightmare here. Won't be hitting any creatures, but it is going to be advancing. Alright, opponent plays out Tom Bombadil, who notably does not have Hexproof or Indestructible yet. Now, maybe our opponent is thinking about getting rid of the Nightmare. Yeah, that's fine. They channeled the Seiji. That's going to ramp us. I like that. Okay, we'll go ahead and submit here. Okay. Now we do have 5 lands. We can play out the Witch King. I do kind of like that. We can also play out Celestis and Nazgul. I think this is going to be a better play. This is why we held on to Celestis before. Get that +1/+1 counter. Tom's not going to be able to attack as well. And we are threatening damage to our opponent. Blood on the Snow, if we do cast it, can get our Nazgul back from the graveyard as well. Yeah, that's fine. Plays the Nightmare. Yep. So our opponent, since they have to pick a non-creature, non-land spell, I think we're going to have to cast Blood on the Snow next turn. Opponent is very low on cards. Okay. Opponent can pick Sorin. So now we have to decide whether or not we want Blood on the Snow or Sorin to get got by the Nightmare. I think we're going to go ahead with the Blood on the Snow. And we're going to destroy all creatures. Pay full snow. Get our Nazgul back. Setting our opponent behind by killing Tom is going to be really good for us. They're not going to get the +1/+1 counters on Tom either, on their showdown here, which is really good. Yep. They got rid of Sorin, which is expected. Maybe our opponent's going to play out Jin-Gitaxias. Maybe they're going to go for the World Spell. Nope, they're just going to play out Tom. He does have Indestructible now. Painful Quandary. Now, I like that. I'm just going to play out the Painful Quandary. And we'll go ahead and pass here. We lose our graveyard. That's fine. Yep. Okay, Nazgul can't block. That's also fine. Now, once we get the Witch King out, our opponent's actually not going to be able to attack us with Tom anymore in fear of having to sacrifice him. But having Painful Quandary out on the board is definitely going to be better since our opponent is so starved of cards. They're going to be having to take that 5 life to cast their spells. Okay, return it to our hand. Makes sense. It is a very disruptive spell for them. Now, next turn we can replay the Quandary. Can also play out the Witch King. I do kind of like both. Yeah, sure. Draw and discard. We'll go ahead and discard a Swamp. Phyrexian Arena. Let's play out the Witch King. Right now, it's going to be more important to dissuade attackers. Since the Nazgul can't block, we're going to go ahead and play it out. Now, Swiftfoot Boots is really good for us. It will protect the Witch King from targeted sagas. I do kind of like keeping that. Erebos, also pretty good for us in terms of card draw. But we have Phyrexian Arena instead, so I think we're going to replace the Erebos there. See if our opponent blocks. I don't think they will. And then we'll play out the Swiftfoot Boots after this. Having Swiftfoot Boots on the Witch King is going to be really good for us. Draw and discard. Get rid of the land. It's always good to cycle through our hand when we can, see if we can find something better. We're holding on to Sam's Rescue, but this is going to be the first card we pitch to Witch King. Now, if opponent does attack with Tom this turn, we'll just block with the Witch King. Can give Indestructible. Yep, opponent passes combat. And it's back to our turn. Taking action. Get rid of the Swamp. Trying to keep as much of our hand as we can. And Mirror Shield as well. Well, let's play out the Painful Quandary. And attach this to the Witch King. Now we can actually swing out for more damage than our opponent. Let's get rid of Mirror Shield. That's redundant. Since our opponent can only swing out for 6, it's better for us to swing for 7 here. Alright, we'll play out the land. Okay. Trying to get Smog. And they'll get another enchantment here. Sacrifices a creature unless we discard a card. Well, let's sack a creature. We'll get rid of the Nazgul. I do like that. We can get Nazgul back if we really want it. Okay, I was... Interesting. I don't think they read what the Witch King does. Alright, yep. That's a choice that they made. And I don't think they meant to. Yep, lose 5 life unless they discard a card. Sure. It's just a land. Okay, moving on to my turn. Let's go ahead and have the ring tempt us. Alright, move to combat. We're gonna swing out. Draw a card, discard the land. We're gonna deal an extra 3 damage because the ring tempted us. Opponent down at 6, so we have lethal on board. They can't block with Smog. 10, 11 that they can swing for. I do really like this. I think we're gonna hold on to both cards in our hand so we can protect the Witch King. Just pass the turn. We're gonna take the discard a card route. Get rid of the Desperate Rescue. Now, our opponent's not going to be able to cast that spell without losing 5 life. Alright, yeah, lose that 5. Opponent down at 1.
Be swift. We haven't much time.
Okay.
Nature has not abandoned me.
This is looking really good. Our opponent isn't going to be able to stop us from attacking with the Witch King, since they can't block. Yep, opponent swings out. This isn't lethal for us. They can sacrifice Smog for all the treasures, I guess. Probably going to sacrifice the Wanderer. Yeah, that makes sense. Get a bunch of treasures. Treasures are fun. I like treasures. And we've got it. All right. Alright, here we are on the play into Sauron. We got a bunch of Nazgul in our hands, some removal spells. I kind of like this. We'll go ahead and keep. Now we do want to keep hitting our land drops. I'm going to start with our tapped Malakir Mire. This way we don't have to worry about a tapped land on our later turns. I'll play Guardian Idol. And we keep on drawing lands. Let's play out our first Nazgul. Looks good. Next turn we can play out another Nazgul. We also have removal as an option. So we're making our way up to Witch King. Now notably, Nazgul put +1/+1 counters on each Wraith we control. And the Witch King is also a Wraith, so we can benefit from having more than one here. Okay, opponent just ramping towards Sauron. And that's fine by me. Play out our next Nazgul. Now we'll get extra +1/+1 counters, keeping this one as our ring bearer. Now Eldest Reborn is going to be good, forcing that sacrifice. Let's move to combat. We want to keep this land. But we will discard a second land. Alright, they flash out the Bowmasters. Fortunately for us, opponent's not really going to be able to block here. Okay. Sure, yeah. That's more than fine. Okay, opponent plays out a Nazgul of their own. Looking good. Envelope, ring temps. Yep. Now they can attack with the army and we won't be able to block here. See what they discard. Alright, looking good. Well, let's play out our Witch King. No attacks, we'll just end the turn here. Having the Witch King out on the battlefield is really good for us. We can protect it by discarding the cards in our hand as well. Alright. Let's see who they pick. Okay. So we'll tap. I'm gonna go ahead and discard... I think we are gonna discard Eldest Reborn here. I would rather have our targeted removal in hand. Alright. Witch King stays alive. See if our opponent attacks. They do not. Back to us. Okay. Now we do have a land that we can play. I think we're gonna use Murderous Rider to kill the Nazgul. Lifelink or Indestructible. Alright, that's fine. We could play out the Swamp and the Murderous Rider. I do like that. And also hold on to the Bite and Heartless Act. Either way, I think we do play out the Swamp. Move to combat. Swing like this. End the turn. Keeping cards in hand is going to be important for us. Alright. Opponent gets Sauron. And back to us. Well, here's another Nazgul. Yep, they can amass one. That's fine by me. Meanwhile, we're going to get a whole bunch of triggers. Let's make the Witch King our ring bearer, since he's the one who can fly over the top of all of our opponents. It's a ton of +1/+1 counters we're getting here. Okay, 2 combat, swing for 8. We'll discard the Swamp. Opponent down at 12, gonna end the turn here. We're in a really good spot. Now we could use Golem's Bite, have the ring tempt us for those 3 extra +1/+1 counters, and the 3 damage. So we should have lethal if we can keep our Witch King alive this turn. Alright. That's fine. I do in fact feel tempted by the ring. Okay. Opponent refuels up to 4 cards, so we are a little worried about them drawing removal. Specifically bounce removal. That's going to be the one we care the most about. Now, let's see, what do we want to do here? We'll just minus their army. Then we'll go ahead, exile this, have the ring tempt us. Keeping the Witch King as our ring bearer. Okay, we're gonna move to combat. And we're just gonna swing out. Draw and discard here. Now, as long as the Witch King connects, we're gonna have lethal off the 4th ability on the ring. That's gonna put us in a great position. Our opponent has only access to 1 more mana. And we're gonna have it, it looks like. Yep. Good game. Yep. Opponent's ring tempts them. They can search for a card first, but they're not going to be able to find a way to stop this. Perfect! Alright, so here we are on the play. This is an alright starting hand, but I think we can find something that's a little bit better. I do like this more. Gives us more early game interaction. We have Sorin to help us get some extra card advantage, and then Painful Quandary. Okay, we're gonna start with Swamp, pass the turn. Nice. Now our goal is gonna be to get rid of Vadric when our opponent plays him. We'll pass the turn, holding up mana for Shieldred's Edict and Heartless Act, depending on what our opponent plays out this turn. Yep, we keep drawing lands, which bodes really well for us. Best case scenario here, he plays out Vadric. If he does, we can kill with Heartless Act. Play Sorin next turn while our opponent's tapped down. That should set us sufficiently far ahead as well. Alright, opponent with a treasure token. So we have to be worried about a 1 mana spell that our opponent can use to get rid of Sorin, so Spell Pierce in that particular case. I don't think they're going to have the Spell Pierce though, that's why we're going to cast out Sorin. Ah, well, they do. That's fine, we took away their treasure. And now we know that they don't have Spell Pierce. Alright, I guess they're thinking about whether or not they can protect the Vadric. Play him out, that's fine. Alright, well, Heartless Act. No counters. We're gonna kill the Vadric. Hold up Shieldred's Edict. We can use that as well. Okay. Opponent just makes a treasure token. I'll let them discard a card and make a treasure token. That feels pretty fine. Do have Phyrexian Obliterator. If we can stick this on the battlefield, that's going to be really good for us. Painful Quandary is also a great spell to have. Let's see our opponent play out Vadric again. We can get rid of him with Shieldred's Edict. Or if we draw the land, we can even think about Eldest Reborn. But I'd rather confirm killing Vadric with the Edict. Yep. Alright. Non-token creature. Back in the command zone you go. We do draw another land. With no Spell Pierce to worry about, we're going to put Painful Quandary out. This is going to start actively killing our opponent as they cast spells. At its worst, it's going to disrupt our opponent's hand. If they can't deal with it right away, they're already going to have to discard at least 2 cards to start casting more spells. Yeah? Alright. That's fine by me. They take the 5. Slow and steady, opponent's going to get closer and closer to dying. Alright, access to 4 mana. We're gonna try and cast the Phyrexian Obliterator here. Now, they can counter it if they want, but it is a painful decision that they have to make. Discards an island. That's fine. Now, they do have enough mana to cast Vadric again. If they do, tap out for that. Eldest Reborn is gonna be the path we take. Make him sacrifice that. We could also use Murderous Rider. If our opponent doesn't cast Vadric, I think we just go for the Obliterator again next turn. There's a decent chance that our opponent wants to hold up more counter magic to stop us from getting the Obliterator. Yep, opponent takes 5. Get some more treasures, draw some more cards. Alright. We're running out the Obliterator again. They can counterspell, that's fine. Or we get it, even better. Now we're threatening more and more damage each turn. Looks like we've got it, alright. Alright, on the play, this looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and keep this opening hand. I like the Call of the Ring for some extra card draw early. We are leaning a little towards the expensive side for our hand. But that's not too bad. That means if we can make it to the late game, we're going to be in a good position. And our opponent's going to be ramping a good deal as well, working his way up to their commander. So I'm not too concerned. Start with Call of the Ring. This is going to give us some extra card draw. Now, our opponent also is going to be working with a lot of creature synergies here. So I'm not quite as concerned about counter magic as I normally would be. Play another land, pass the turn. Yep. Opponent's just ramping. Yep, we're just making our way up the ring. Now we can't play out Erebos here, or the Nyx Lotus. I think we're going to go for the Nyx Lotus. It's an expensive mana rock, but it's going to slowly start to pay off as we get more mana. Next turn, we can play out the Witch King and protect him. I like that. Opponent's likely going to play out his commander as well. With the Witch King, it's going to be very difficult for our opponent to get their combat damage through on us. Okay, Leyline of the Void. Well, let's go ahead and play out our Witch King. This is also going to increase our devotion on Nyx Lotus. We'll be able to add even more mana next turn. Alright. Ring Wraiths is also going to be a pretty good card for us to play out. We can play it next turn if we want to. It also... might want to play out the big Shieldred. I do like that as well. We have a lot of different choices. Keeping our opponent off mana could be good with that disruption. But we'll see. I think I'm going to go for the big Shieldred here. Okay, Ring Bearer. Let's pay some life and draw a card. Extra cards feel good. Go for the Throat. Alright, I like that. Now, let's see. What can I do here? We can play out the small Shieldred, and then have 5 mana on Nyx Lotus. That is kind of good for us. I think we're going to do that. Grow the Lotus. We'll see if our opponent has a counterspell. They do not. Odds are they're going to tap or sacrifice one of their smaller creatures. Yep. Alright, so now we have 5 mana here. I think we're going to hold up, go for the Throat. No need to play out Erebos, even though we can. And I'm just going to attack with the Witch King. We'll draw and discard. Oh, well, these combined are going to be 5 mana for us. Let's get rid of Leyline of the Void. When the Witch King connects, he'll deal an extra 3, because we are on the 4th level of the Ring Emblem. Okay, that's fine. That's one less creature that our opponents have. Yep, add some mana. Okay, perfect. Opponent taps out. Well, that puts us in a great position here. So let's go Nightmare. Go ahead and kill their commander. Next turn will be Thought Seizing them. And with our last 2 mana, we do have Go for the Throat. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Elder since it taps for more mana. Now we'll just end the turn right here. Now we also tap for 6 mana with Nyx Lotus, and we're going to be essentially Thought Seizing, or duressing our opponent with Elspeth's Nightmare. That puts us in a really good spot. If we draw another land, we can also play out the Ring Wraiths. Okay, opponent's going to tap out, get their commander again. Which is going to be very unfortunate. Let's see, do we want to draw the card? I think we do. Underworld Dreams, alright. We draw the land. Perfect. Alright, well, let's get rid of that. Opponent does have Craterhoof in hand. Let's play out the Ring Wraiths. Ring Wraith's gonna go ahead and kill their Mana Dork. Yep. We see everything in our opponent's hand. We'll play Big Shieldred as well. Our opponent's going to have to sacrifice. Yeah, we've got it. Alright, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. As we saw here, the Witch King is a super fun deck to play in Historic Brawl. Not only do we get all of the power of a mono-black Devotion deck, and its disruption towards our opponent's game plan, but we're also able to play some of those fun, flavorful cards and get our Wraith win with all the Nazgul and the Witch King beating down on our opponents. Now, if you guys have any ideas for another deck you'd like to see me play, why don't you go ahead and let me know in a comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. I will see you all next time.